Hi, everybody. This is Chaya Parkoff, licensed clinical social worker, and this is ParshaRx, mental health prescriptions from the weekly Torah portion. Now, before I launch into this week's prescription, I want to first thank you, my viewers, listeners, and readers for the love and appreciation you have been sharing with me. When you tell me that my weekly video helps you, informs you, inspires you, it makes me feel so grateful that I get to do this. By the way, I now have a WhatsApp group where I just share that video and blog each week. And if you would like to be added to the WhatsApp group, just click the link below. This week's Parsha, Chukat, begins with one of the most mysterious mitzvot in the Torah. It says, Zot Chukat HaTorah. This is the decree of the Torah. It's referring to the para aduma, the red heifer, whose ashes purify those who are impure but render impure the very person preparing the ashes. Even King Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived, said, I thought I'd become wise. I could become wise, but it's beyond me. This is the definition of a chok, a law that doesn't make sense. But just because we don't understand something doesn't mean it isn't true. And it doesn't mean it's not ultimately good for us. In therapy, one of the biggest blocks to healing I see is the belief that if I could just understand why this happened, then I could move on. But the truth is, knowing why doesn't guarantee healing. In fact, it often keeps people stuck, spinning in the pain instead of moving through and beyond it. I've noticed something else too. Clients who don't have any faith system, no way to connect to something bigger than themselves, often find themselves hitting what I call the existential wall. They want fairness, they want logic, they want closure, but life doesn't always give us that. And when it doesn't, they feel like the ground drops out beneath them. This is also why I love doing brain spotting with my clients, because it's one of the few therapeutic approaches that allows us to heal without having to fully understand why the wound is there. You don't have to explain it or label it or relive it. You just present with it, and your brain and body will do the rest. That's holy work. That's chok in motion. Our holy language of Hebrew also offers a gentle reframe for when we insist on knowing why. The Hebrew word for why is lama. But when you break it down, ma, it means to what? Not why did this happen to me, but to what purpose can I now bring this? What now? To what should I do next? That shift from why to what next is where healing begins. I'll never forget what my grandma Charlotte, said to me. I've spoken about her before. She had been widowed very young. She lost her child, my father, when he was just 28. I was only 6 months old. And I asked her one day when I was a young adult, how did you get through this? And she said, I don't think God dealt me such a great hand, but I know he knows what he's doing. That's emuna. That's faith. Not loud, not dramatic, not even religious, but deep and grounded. She didn't need the answers to keep living a life of faith and goodness. The Lubavitcher Rebbe taught we don't follow chukim, these laws that we don't understand, because we understand them. We follow them because we trust the one who gave them. And Rabbi Sachs of blessed memory wrote, faith is not certainty. It's the courage to live with uncertainty. You are not the author of this entire story that we are all part of, but you do play a role and an important one at that. And your next step still matters. Recently, this past Shabbat, we had the honor of hosting a young Israeli couple. The husband is a commander in the IDF. On October 7th, he left early that morning, his home, for the base. He told his wife and parents he'd be home that evening, but his wife and parents didn't hear from him for 3 days because it took that long to neutralize the kibbutzim and rescue whoever could be saved. He told us something I don't think I'll ever forget. He said essentially, none of us had the full picture. No one really understood what was going on. We each just did our job. We trusted each other. We kept moving. We put one foot in front of the other. That's Lama becoming Lema. That's Emuna in action. So here's our Parsha RX for this week. Let go of the demand to understand and take the next faithful step because you don't need all the answers to keep walking. God has the full story. We just write the next line. And just a reminder that we are in that period of time in the Jewish calendar of constricted consciousness that I spoke about last week. And in order to remedy this, we want to continue to let go of any resentments we're holding. Just let them go because you will feel better and it will allow, please God, soon, the Holy Temple to be rebuilt. From Denver, Colorado, this is Chaya Parkoff. Shabbat Shalom.